time for my after Mass cup of coffee in my miraculous St. Patrick's mug. And it is nothing special. It is Starbucks. I know that the true coffee snobs out there look down on Starbucks, but it's fine for me. I live in the Wild West. We're lucky that we have coffee at all. We are 3 hours from anywhere. that is the truth. Roswell is 3 hours from anywhere. You want to get somewhere? Just drive 3 hours and you'll get somewhere. Well, no, we can go to Carlsbad in an hour, maybe about an hour to Ruidoso as well, but those aren't exactly big cities. If you want to go to a metropolis with really fine coffee, then you're going to want to drive 3 hours. And of course, those metropolises that we have near us are more Wild West towns, such as Albuquerque and Las Cruces, El Paso, Lubbock. Yep, those are all the places that are about 3 hours away from us. I do really enjoy a trip to Lubbock. Lubbock is a college town. I think it has 2 universities, so that makes it kind of special. All right, I'm going to get my mug and I'm going to move in the other room and we're going to keep this video going. Okay, now I am in my favorite video making spot, the front room of my house. Why? Because it's sunny and, well, I don't really get morning light in this part of the house. So unfortunately, I don't have that to offer, but there is a giant front window and it allows daylight, beautiful daylight, to fill this space in this room, which, you know, sunlight, coffee. I think about the things that make me happy, like the song, "These are a few of my favorite things." Well, some of my favorite things are taking walks with the dog in the sunshine because it is dark when I get off work, and of course it will get light again, but then by the time it gets light, I'll have a couple months maybe in the springtime in which I can have walks right after work and it's still sunny, but then of course the heat will hit and I'll be like, no, I can't go out in 100-degree weather. Never happy. That is the problem with human beings. We are never happy. Yeah, but coffee makes me happy. And taking sunny walks makes me happy. Playing my accordion makes me happy. I was playing my favorite song last week. For some reason, I had just never really sat down and learned to play it on the accordion. And it's Mi Golondrina. That is, well, I mean, I've said other songs are my favorite songs, so at any given moment, I might tell you a different song is my favorite song, but Mi Golondrina is a very long time favorite song. I have been listening to it and I don't know, feeling that special whatever that you get from songs that touch your soul. So I've been listening to that song for probably over 20 years, and I used to have it when I was attending UNM. I had it taped to a folder that for one of my classes so that I could just read it all the time. And it just, to me, it expressed everything that I needed to express in my heart. And that is the best kind of song, when you enjoy the music and the melody as well as the lyrics, when all of that comes together in this magical form. And for me, that generally is music with an accordion playing. A sousaphone also, or a tuba also adds. Those are my 2 favorite instruments. So both of those instruments together are wonderful, but just the accordion is also wonderful. The accordion parts to Mi Golondrina, they are played with finesse. They are played quickly when Ramon Ayala plays them. Obviously, it's his song that he does. That I mean, other people have done that song, but he's the master. And the way he plays it, okay, so they're fairly simple. The parts in the song are fairly simple, but they sort of flow one into the next without really giving a pause, and they sound smooth, and they sound like a golondrina. They sound like this bird that's flying through the air. I don't know how to explain it. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And like I said, they're not complicated, but to play them the way Ramon Ayala plays them is a completely different thing altogether. And so I guess one of my hesitations with my favorite songs like that, I don't want to destroy them. I don't want to ruin them, but I have this really tenacious spirit. I never stop. It doesn't matter how badly I do something. If I really want it enough, then I will just keep going until I have achieved whatever I feel like is an acceptable level of incompetency. An acceptable level, yes. That's what we all aim for. An acceptable level of incompetency. Right? That's correct. Yes. Anyway, what else makes me happy? Well, singing makes me happy. I love to sing, and I'm not a great singer. I've said that before. But this morning, I was the cantor at Mass, and I loved the responsorial. It came from Psalm 19, and it's just this. Okay, so the very first responsorial I ever did was also taken from Psalm 19. It was an earlier passage of Psalm 19, and that was last year on Holy Saturday, at the Holy Saturday Easter Vigil Mass. That was my first responsorial that I did. First time I got to be a cantor, yay! And I say yay now. That's just bizarre to me. Anyway, I sang this morning, I sang the part of Psalm 19 that has, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord." Yes, and it really hit me, like I really meant it when I was singing that, and I think that when I feel that kind of emotion, my voice gets a little shakier, and this morning I would say it was not from fear or anxiety, but because I really felt it. I really felt I really felt that psalm this morning. I loved it, and I am honored that I was able to sing it, and that it happened on my Sunday when the regular cantor just wasn't there, and yeah, it was beautiful. So I love singing, and I love to be a cantor more now than I used to, because, I'm, fear can ruin the joy in life. When you are scared to do things that you might enjoy, it saps your joy. But singing is wonderful. I love to sing. I love to play the accordion. What do you enjoy doing? What brings you joy? We should all strive to do some of those things. We can get so lost in our lives, in work, and doing all of the things that we're supposed to do that are our obligations, like raising our families. And now, at this point, my youngest child is a senior in high school, and so I don't have to do that much, but I mean, he still needs me until he doesn't anymore. Until he's like, "Mom, just back off." No, he actually still is grateful that I make him breakfast, but anyway, he's a sweet kid. Whoa, I just kicked my music stand. I did. Anyway, speaking of joy, I moved forward in my book, Delivering the Goods and the Bads, the book that will never be done, or I feel like that. There are always those books that you feel are gonna, well, actually every single one of them feels like that, but some of them are harder to write than others, and this one has been really difficult, but I moved forward, and I actually wrote an entire chapter that I had just left blank. Okay, so I had just skipped it because I just didn't know how to write it. So I went from here to here, and there's just no in between. Now you can do that on a rough draft. I mean, as long as you're getting the words on paper, you're getting them down, you can do that. You can skip chapters as long as you have a placeholder and you know that something is supposed to go there. You can come back to it. So I came back to it, and it flowed really well, and I was very grateful because I prayed a lot about it. I prayed a lot about a lot of things. I pray a lot all the time. I don't know, maybe God, well, no, I think God likes to hear from us. Pray without ceasing. That's what the Bible says. And so I do that. And if God gets sick of hearing me complain, well, I'm sorry. I should probably, I try to start my prayer life by listing things that I'm thankful for, because I think that's an attitude shift we all need to have. And I know I repeat myself a lot on these videos because I don't script them, just things that are generally on my mind at this time in my life and at this time of the year. So I apologize if you are hearing the same things over and over again. But that is my big plus for this last week. I started playing Mi Golondrina on my accordion, and now I just have to get it all down with the vocals, and maybe if I do, I'll sing it and play it here. And yeah. And I haven't quite, just because I was, picking out the parts last week. And how do I do that? Well, I have three ways. No, really 2 ways of picking out parts on an accordion. I listen to tutorials. I said 3 because I usually listen to more than one tutorial before I find and adapt the way I want to play a song. And then I also listen to the song and I try to figure out the parts from that, because generally speaking, tutorials, like, yeah, I like the way that the person's playing it maybe, but they're not playing it exactly like the song, or maybe there's a different way to play it. I don't know. Anyway, I try to find the best way to play the song with the song as it's playing. I don't have to necessarily make my music a carbon copy of the songs that I love, but and obviously I don't think that I have the ability to do that, especially when it comes to accordion players like Ramon Ayala and what's his name, the dude from Javier Rios, I think is his name, from Los Invasores. That's my favorite band, really. I really love the smooth quality of his accordion playing. Javier, I think, Javier or something or other. It says on his accordion. I think it has his name on his accordion, so next time I watch him, I swear I saw somebody like him at the store. Not him, no, I'm sorry, not him, not the accordion player, the singer. I swear I saw the singer, the singer now in the band, not Lalo Mora. Obviously he hasn't, he used to be with the band and he no longer is, but I swear I saw him at the store. And I wanted to figure out how to play like Javier Rios, that's his name, I'm pretty sure. So I would watch video footage, but there's this whole concert series on YouTube in which they really focus on the singer. Yeah, they do focus a little bit on the accordion player and his hands flying on the accordion and all that, but a lot on the singer. And so like up so close that you can see like the sweat trickling down his face. Poor guy. Well, he probably obviously doesn't care. It's all about the music, right? All about the music. That's what matters. Yeah, I swear I saw him at the grocery store wearing the same white hat he was wearing in the video. No, seriously, there's this guy at the grocery store and he was sort of below this white hat and it was low on his face and he was sort of looking down like he didn't want anybody to recognize him. That's why I'm like, But honestly, the lead singer from that band, he looks like a lot of, like he could have cousins here in Roswell because there are people who look like him in town. But that particular guy was like, that really looks like him. I almost asked him for his autograph, but that would have been really dumb. Because he'd be like, who are you, crazy lady? And why are you asking me for my autograph? Be like, because you were wearing a white hat and that means you're one of the good guys. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they had the same cowboy hat. It had to be the same person because of that reason. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I don't know. happiness last week because I was playing my favorite song on the accordion, and because I sort of like pushed through a blockage and I kept going on my book, and so that gives me hope that everything's going to come together and it's going to be finished. Yeah, some of the things that do not bring me happiness is I do not know why I have to be allergic to so many different foods, but it's like every time I think that anyway, whatever. Nobody wants to hear about that, but I do have like rashes all around my eyes because it turns out that I ate some soup that somebody else had made, and they just didn't realize I had foods that I was allergic to, and life sucks when you have food allergies. You really can't eat out at restaurants, especially if you have wheat allergies. And let me tell you that it's not as simple as just getting like a steak with a vegetable, because often if they do a butter sauce in the vegetables, it has wheat in it, and if it seems like a little thicker than the butter that you put on vegetables at your home, well, that's why, because they're adding wheat flour. And this is sort of a new development to me. It never occurred to me that somebody would put flour in green beans when it's just like butter, when it just has butter on the green beans. That was just like mind-boggling to realize, well, why do I get so sick, all the time? Why do I have these digestive problems? Well, I really just have to stop eating out, because you just never know what people are going to hide in food. And steaks are usually okay, although some steaks are marinated in something that has soy sauce, but the wheat might be so remote that it doesn't bother me. I don't know. Usually I'm fine if I eat a ribeye because they don't usually marinate ribeyes. Thank goodness, ribeyes don't really need it, and they're delicious. So hopefully I'm good with just going to a restaurant and ordering a ribeye. But that makes me kind of like, for myself, a high maintenance person. I'm like, I can't eat anything. Oh well, it's okay. But that's sort of the negativity that comes into life, and I'm like, why? But, and if people think that I'm just making it all up, that these food allergies that my kids have and that I have, that I'm just making it up, well, the fact that like the hives are instantaneous, and the rashes, they're kind of instantaneous, like almost immediate after eating something. That's an anaphylactic reaction. So I'm not making it up. There are people who really they just do not like people who have food allergies. They don't like people who are gluten intolerant or have an allergy to gluten. And recently, the recent talking point I keep reading on the interwebs is that you don't actually have a gluten allergy. You're actually allergic to my brain just took the glyphosate. Yeah, okay. My brain was not coming up with that word. With the glyphosate that they spray the crops with in the drying process. And yes, they do that to wheat, but it doesn't really explain why most people who are allergic to wheat can eat oats, because they also spray oats, and they also spray lentils and in the drying process. And lentils and oats don't usually bother people who are allergic to wheat, so that doesn't explain that. But it's just like people are always trying to say why nobody really has gluten allergies. And yes, gluten allergies, they're big these days. And I don't know if it's because of the glyphosate in our food that we consume. Obviously, I'm not a doctor or a scientist. I haven't really researched this, but glyphosates are supposed to be very damaging to the intestines, and they are in a lot of our food. And our corn is just, you can't really get corn. Popcorn. Yes, popcorn is not corrupted with glyphosate, as far as I know, because the Roundup Ready corn won't pop. like the kind of corn that Orville Redenbacher, he crossbred corn until he came up with the lightest, fluffiest popping corn. And so companies like that, they're like, no, we put all this effort and science into what we were doing. We're not doing Roundup Ready, which doesn't pop. And but most of our corn is corrupted. I did hear that Mexico had a process where they were outlawing glyphosates, and our government just came unglued about that, because a lot of our exports are glyphosate foods, and we have trade agreements with Mexico. And so, unfortunately, they really should be allowed to protect their native varieties of corn from Roundup Ready corn, and if they want to protect the people from glyphosates, that's their business. And our trade agreements, well, yeah, I mean, I guess you have to honor trade agreements. I don't know, or maybe come back to the table and make a new trade agreement. I do not know. But good on them if they actually did ban glyphosates and they managed to, for the health of their people. And like I said, I'm not a scientist or a doctor. That's my caveat. So I don't think I have a big enough audience to get flagged. However, I've known people with small audiences to get flagged on YouTube, especially if they're talking about the, COVID. But I'm not going to talk about that because I have nothing to say about it. I haven't known somebody who got COVID for a long time. I'm sure it's still going around, but it's just not in my it's not in my sphere right now. So I really have nothing to say, nor do I have anything really to say about politics. I will tell you that I vote my conscience, and all of the hate and paranoia and vitriol and just everything is, to me, it's just too much to handle. I can't handle that. I want to live my life, raise my family, and work my job, and be the best person I can be in that way. I don't really think that hate-filled Facebook rants are the way to change the world. They really aren't. I mean, they make people defensive when you're shouting at them. People get backed into a corner, and they feel defensive. Yeah, I mean, I do have opinions on a lot of things, and some things I don't have any opinions on. I think that you could go one way or another depending on how you want to structure your life and your government, and the people kind of decide that in a democracy. Although we're not a democracy, we're a representative republic. So we decide that to a certain extent by the people that we vote in. And of course, we also vote on bills. So we do vote directly for that, for say yes or no on different bills and places where we want to give our tax dollars. Yes, and I do have something to say about immigration too, but nobody wants to hear my opinions on immigration. That's a really frustrating topic. Like, the thought of mass deportations just is wrong, but I really doubt that's actually going to happen. But we'll see how things pan out. Mass deportations are just ridiculously wrong, and the people that our former administration allowed in the country illegally, those are the people that should be rounded up and, well, I don't know, fined, jailed, whatever, for their crimes against the nation. But yeah, mass deportations, not really something that I would be pro. I'm not pro that. Border control, yeah, I think most Americans are for border control, and depending on the administration, the Border Patrol agents are either supported or they're not supported, and there's a lot of crime that comes across the border. I've talked at length with with at least one Border Patrol agent. I've known multiple Border Patrol agents, but I've talked at length with one of them about his experiences working on the border, and it's not a pretty job. It's not easy, and if the administration is not supporting the Border Patrol agents, then their job is not very easy. And that's all I have to say about that. I am generally just pro being good to human beings, but the world just kind of sucks, and that doesn't really happen. on a regular basis. I want to say more, but I'm like, I'm not going to go political. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Yes, my St. Patrick mug, my miraculous St. Patrick mug, is holding my coffee and filling me with warmth and energy and restored life today. So I'm not going to go on rants. I'm not going to be unhappy. I'm going to rest in the peace of Christ, and I'm going to be good with that. By the way, I don't have much else to say today, except I would like to know where you find your joy, especially for writers, okay? Because it can be really hard, especially when you're working full-time, but even if you're not, even if you work part-time, or maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. I mean, I have been on and off in my life a stay-at-home mom. It's really hard to change your focus from all of the things going on in the world to your book. And the creative process is never easy, and there are very few rewards for it unless you like really hit the right notes and hit the right marketing notes and the right notes in your book. Then you are not going to sell very many copies. And I find that I have a certain rapport with people in person that I do not have online and on videos, and I can sell more books when I'm in person. And I think it's just because I have a harder time dealing with people as a group, as in a distant way, that I really can only get to know people on an individual level. And so when I'm talking to them on an individual level, I tend to have more rapport with them in general, I say, because, writers tend to be a little awkward, a little weird, but if we can talk to people in person and hear what they have to say. Like, I met so many great people at my last Socorro event. It was so exciting for me. Anyway, I love to hear people's stories. I love to listen to people. So yeah, I need to do more in-person selling. I need to do that at events. I think that would be more efficacious for me than making videos and being on social media, which is just frustrating. And I know that is the old model where authors used to do readings and they would sell at bookstores and they'd go do signings for people. That's sort of the old world, and nowadays we're supposed to be doing that sort of virtually. And I don't know. I think that the more we get into our technology, we get into AI, we get like distant from people. We don't need to go out into the world anymore. We can have everything delivered to our door, and we can become these reclusive, grumpy grumps. And the more we do that, the more we want to go back to the old model of things. And it will never go back. You're never going to go backwards, but you can make changes and find the joy of being with other human beings again. And that's really, I think, where it's at for me in selling books. I don't think that I'm ever going to become a bestseller based off of this venue, based off of what I can do online. I don't think it's going to work for me. That's just my instinct to say that. And maybe I just come across a little more awkward on camera. I don't really know. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, it's really hard to live this life, to get very little encouragement, to spend hours and hours and hours of effort, and then people want things for free, even though you just like gutted yourself for like a year. You gutted yourself for a year and a half writing that book. And I want to get faster. The first book, it took me a year from start. Well, okay. Yeah, it was really a year. By the time I published, it was a little over a year, but really just the writing and editing process, it was Amazon and the uploading process that ended up taking me a little bit longer. But yeah, when you like gut yourself for hours and hours over a work, and then somebody wants it for free, or they can just read it in a few hours and then they're like, 1 star, I hated the heroine just for whatever. They made something, or the hero. They just didn't like the hero for whatever reason. And they're like, 1 star. It's like, okay. Yeah. That's why I like meeting people in person, so that I can reconnect with people and not feel this like grumpy distance from the world. But it is really necessary to find moments of joy. And mine are pretty obvious. I'm not really shy about talking about things that I'm obsessed about, like playing my accordion and singing and norteño and yeah. I don't know if I've said this before, but I think it's really funny that the local population calls the music, like I'll be listening to it in my office and then somebody coming in is like, are you listening to Spanish music? Like, Spanish music? It's not Spanish music. It's in the Spanish language, but to me, Spanish music could be music from any number of countries where people speak Spanish, or from Spain, but I'm kind of used to it by now. That's what people say here in Roswell. They're like, it's Spanish music. One person calls it all banda, and I'm like, I don't want to correct her, but I'm like, that's not banda. I don't think you know what banda is, but she's like, you listen to that banda? And I'm like, no, I mean, yes, I do, but this particular song is not banda. Anyway, I'm not exactly an expert on all the genres, but I know what banda is, and that's not it. My favorite is when you combine norteño and banda. The norteño banda, which is probably why Julian Alvarez was my top musician listened to last year on Spotify. I was like in the top 1% listener, but I do like that combination where he calls it that, in Julian Alvarez y su norteño banda. I really do like that combination. Same thing with Calibre 50. They have the tuba and the accordion, and I love that. That combination is just marvelous to me. It's perfection. It's perfection in music. It's the height of everything, the accordion and the tuba. And yeah, it's wonderful. And if you don't believe me, then you should go listen to some accordion and tuba played together and hear it for yourself. Marvelous, wonderful. The sax is okay too, but the saxophonist often sort of overshadows the accordion player, and that should never happen to me because I'm a snot about that. Anyway, we'll not go there because me and my offensive opinions about everything, offensive opinions. That's what I have, really offensive opinions on politics and the fact that accordion players need to know their place, and accordion players, did I say accordion? No, saxophone players. That was a slip. I'm in trouble now. Anyway, the saxophonists really need to know their place, that they really, either they're going to be primarily saxophone, like say Conjunto Primavera is a band that I have liked for years, but they're primarily saxophone. And yes, they have an accordion as well, but they're primarily saxophone, so I don't get really upset when their saxophone is large and in their music. But when you have both playing, and I feel like the accordion should be the prominent instrument, but the sax is just too loud, and that happens a lot in live performances. I'm like, just step back, saxophonist, step back. Okay, I'm pretty sure that I'm just going on my usual rants. I probably said this like 1,000 times because it's my deeply held opinions, and I probably said it 1,000 times, so I need to really shut up now. But I wanted to get to the most important part, and I'm honestly thinking I wish that I had said something about it at the beginning. Okay, there are things that you're supposed to say like and subscribe, but also I'm doing my interview tomorrow, my interview with Philomena, the world's greatest expert on Marian apparitions. Okay, so that was an exaggeration, but in my opinion, for people that I know, she's my world's greatest expert, because I've never met somebody who knew so much about Marian apparitions as Philomena, and she's going to be on my show tomorrow. And well, okay, my show. I don't know what that is. I will probably post it on Tuesday because I probably won't have time to post it tomorrow after I do the interview, which will be after work. And yay, I'm so excited. And I talked to her on Friday, I think it was, and she confirmed that we were doing the interview, and I am super excited. And I'll try not to get her, distract her from her message. So please look forward to that. Please listen. Tuesday. Yes, that's when I'm going to post it. I promise that I will post it on Tuesday. Philomena, she's amazing, and you will hear her. My personal world's greatest expert on Marian apparitions. So tune in for that, and I will see you another time.